Myron is somebody in front of the cameras, but behind them is somebody else with me.
A lot of guys just have to stay in a sex and marriage because they don't have leverage in the relationship. Notice how he doesn't show Frank in the documentary. They did this on purpose. They're trying to make me look like an asshole. I noticed that right away. I was like, yo, they didn't show my dog. What the f***?
Where you at, Berto?
Myron Gaines thinks he exposed Louis Theroux.
Myron Gaines is furious with how he was portrayed in Louis Theroux's new Netflix documentary.
I said Theroux. Theroux. Yes, I can read. I have a PDH level reading if you didn't know. Ask chat during the Twitch streams, they'll let you know.
Inside the manosphere. He says the documentary was a hit piece that took him completely out of context, and now he has the footage to expose what really happened. Now, what he specializes in is talking to conservatives, cutting things out of context, and trying to make them look crazy. That's what he does. But his fuck up was, you're dealing with a different kind over here, man. Quite frankly, no one should ever take his documentary seriously or any of his journalism seriously after I show you guys what I'm going to show you. Because I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I said, you know what? I will let you guys come, film, etc. I will take you guys on your word. We'll listen to what you got to say. We'll let you guys in, etc. Of course, they did snake shit, which is great because it proves me right. And you guys allowed me to utilize the nuke I've been sitting on for several months.
So if you guys don't know what's going on, a Netflix documentary came out recently exposing the manosphere, and Myron got the bottom end of the stick. So now Myron's trying to cover his own ass. He's in complete damage control. Let's see what he does here.
Okay, we did this back in July because I knew that they were going to be on some fucking bullshit. And I knew that they were probably going to go ahead, deceptively edit the video for their own purposes or cut out a lot of the shit that Angie said.
Now, I thought the documentary was great and I was going to recommend that you all watch it, but maybe I'd better have a look at what Myron has to show us before I do. A big issue Myron had with the documentary was how it featured his girlfriend at the time, Angie. In one of the most viral moments of the film, Louis asked Angie what she thought about Myron's views on one-way monogamy and having multiple wives, and she looked visibly uncomfortable and did not seem on board with the idea. According to Myron, the way this moment was presented was completely unfair, and he has proof.
Weird, like
No. It's cool.
it's awkward though.
No.
Did you feel a little awkward?
No, not at all. No, Angie, like, she's with me on the
She's just on board as you are.
On board with what specifically?
You know what? Like just the...
You know, it's funny because we had been together for 2 years at this point doing the same shit. So what does he mean she's not on board? She's obviously on board. A very Weasley, snaky type behavior.
Myron says Louis was wrong to think that Angie did not seem on board with the one-way monogamy because she'd been with him for years. The problem with that argument is they broke up literally during the filming of this documentary.
It's been several months, guys, that we haven't been together. But we have not been together for a very long time, guys. She was a good girlfriend, bro.
Myron's real smoking gun regarding the Angie section was that Louis did not include this footage of Angie talking about how great Myron is.
None of this is in the fucking footage, is it?
He's always been very straightforward with me, and I...
Oh, what'd she say? I was always been straightforward with her?
You got a happy relationship?
Yeah, he's very honest. I have always said that. He's always been very straightforward with
And that's my footage, chat.
me, and I always love that from him. Like, you don't get that from many people nowadays. He's always kept that in their relationship, and he's also very loving. I say to my friends and like to people that always question our relationship that Myron is somebody in front of the cameras, but behind them is somebody else with me. And
I mean, really all she's saying right here, and I'm gonna actually play that again. Listen to that part very carefully before I acknowledge it.
In front of the cameras, but behind kept that in their relationship, and he's also very loving. I say to my friends and like to people that always question our relationship that Myron is somebody in front of the cameras, but behind them is somebody else with me. And
that's what we've always known. We've always known this about Myron. He gets on camera and talks a big game about how he's this and that and how he's big, super misogynist and, you know, super tough and but we see through it. It's really not even hard to it's really not hard to think anything else, honestly, when you look at Myron. I mean, bro, he literally looks like a cornball, but we'll save the insults for another day. Wow, battery dying, but I'm gonna keep yapping. That's so annoying. But pretty much It's like you have somebody here who is 100% a fraud. He gets on camera and tells y'all, oh, I'm Mr. Tough Guy. I'm Mr. Misogynist. I'm Mr. I get all the women. I can do whatever in my relationship. But the reality is, that's just not the case. That's just not the case. He probably is super snuggled up, super simped up for his girl, which there's nothing wrong with that, man. If you're in love with your girl, you in love with your girl. But that's what the reality is. That's what she just said right there. Who Myron portrays himself to be on camera is not the same person that he is when the camera is turned off. If you enjoy gaming content, horror games, puzzle games, and honestly, even if you don't like games, you just want to see me shit my pants, head over to my gaming channel, Berto Gaming. I ain't gonna lie, I've been having the most fun I've had in a long time creating content while playing these games. Me and my team have been going crazy, putting a lot of creative energy into these edits for the game. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, link to that will be in the description. That's Berto Gaming. Where you at, family? I love y'all so much. Now let's get back to the video.
And I love him very much, and I will love him as long as we're together. He's a great person, and
He cut that part out. I mean, look, was I wrong? Look at all the shit they cut out.
and people don't believe it because you see a personality in camera, but he's actually a great man. Like, he's actually a great person, and he has great values, and I love it.
I don't doubt it. I literally don't doubt it. I literally think Myron and Fresh and Fit, but I think both of those guys, they're obviously assholes because to get on camera and act the way that they do, you do have to be an asshole to your core. But I think the reality is they don't do half of the things that they say, bro. They don't. They don't live the life that they try to get you guys to think that they do, bro. They're corny. They're whipped for their girls. I mean, just look at Fresh, bro. How is your right-hand man constantly having babies with, lack of better words, thotties, you know what I'm saying? Having babies with thotties, constantly getting bitched by women, disrespected by women. Like, come on, bro. These guys don't have game. They don't even look like they have game. When you close your eyes, as if for my brothers watching, when you close your eyes and think about having a dream physique and having a dream sense of style and the inspirations of a guy that you would want to look similar like or want to be similar to, we all have somebody that inspires us. It's not Myron, Fresh and Fit, bro. It's not them. And I'm sure for my ladies, when you close your eyes and imagine the guy of your dreams, it doesn't look like this guy right here.
Weirdo.
Everything about him. He can be crazy sometimes, but I really love his personality and his values and everything that, makes him the man that he is.
Myron says that this segment of Angie talking about how wonderful he is at length being cut from the documentary is proof of foul play from Louis. A few things here. Firstly, Myron claims that this changes the part of the documentary featuring Angie, when in reality it changes nothing. Angie saying Myron is a nice guy does not suddenly mean that she is happy with being one of multiple wives. And to be clear, I edited that section down for all of your sake. Angie was talking about how terrific Myron is for minutes on end, and he expects Louis to bring his documentary to a screeching halt by including the entire thing. And that brings us to the major problem with Myron's expose of Louis. He doesn't understand, or is pretending not to understand, that documentaries like this have to edit down footage, or it will be dozens of hours of garbage. Funnily enough, some of Myron's own chatters were suggesting that Angie's long speech sounded forced.
Some of you guys said that it sounds forced. Guys, English is her second language. English is her second language, so that's why she speaks that way. I didn't coach her to say any of that. She said that herself, walking in. But they cut all that shit out, obviously.
I didn't coach her. You guys saw her walk in.
What's good, official?
Do you guys think Angie's speech to Louis sounded forced or coached? Let me know in the comments.
I think realistically, she's dating a guy. She was with him for 2 years. Regardless of how she felt, I think to a degree, she probably... It just, it's not typical for you to be in a relationship even the toxic ones. How many toxic relationships have we seen play out on the internet? It's not very often where in a toxic relationship that's going on in private, you just up and just air out all the business to a bunch of strangers. You know, typically a lot of that stuff happens behind closed doors, and you know what I'm saying, you kind of keep it to yourself. You're almost embarrassed. You know, I can only imagine as a woman, your man is cheating on you, doing whatever, disrespecting you, humiliating you, talking down on women over and over again, and you're sitting there as a woman and being like, damn, this is supposed to be my man. I'd imagine, you know, and for whatever reason you're still in that relationship, you know, it's a toxic relationship, you haven't gotten the courage to get up out that situation yet. I'd imagine my inherent thinking would probably be to try and save face too. You still with him. So I don't necessarily think it's coming off forced. I just think, hey, if she's currently dating that guy, is it really that out of the question that she's just gonna like start saying, oh yeah, he's a fucking terrible person. I think that he's the worst person ever. He's a misogynist, and everything that you guys say on the internet about him is true. He's a complete weirdo.
Weirdo.
No, I don't think his current girlfriend is gonna say that.
About the evidence that Myron has to show us, we can repeatedly see him trying to get the section where Louis spoke to him and Angie removed from the documentary, the section where he just happened to look like the biggest fool. And Myron had a bombshell email to show us. It shows a producer assuring Angie, who Myron claims didn't want to be in the documentary, that the section she featured in was only 2 minutes in total.
Oh, and by the way, for those of you that are wondering, did she actually want to be in a documentary or not? Here's proof for you guys. She didn't want to be in a fucking documentary because this scumbag reached out to her right before the documentary was released. Hey, Angie, I'm very happy to talk to you through your small appearance in the documentary. However, if you don't want to pass on your cell number, it's worth me clarifying that you appear for just 2 minutes in the 90-minute film. As you chat about in Miami, Myron is just one of 4 main contributors across the documentary, so he is not the sole focus. The film will drop on Netflix on March 11 next week. I also have attached 2 full documents about your online and social media use. They are definitely worth reading as I offer you useful advice on maintaining safety and privacy online for when the film is broadcast. Kind regards. And that's Ollie. You know what she had told them? Guys, I don't want to be in the documentary. So what does he do? He tries to get her number to talk to her. I told her, Angie, don't talk to them.
Myron did not show the email that Angie had sent the producer, nor in this stream did he show any evidence of Angie herself saying she did not want to be in the documentary, but he shows a lot of footage of him speaking for her, trying to get the section removed for what he says was her safety.
Again, I knew they were gonna do this bullshit, so we're just exposing them for what they are. I was hoping I wouldn't have to use this footage, but now we're using it.
That's not fair to them. I signed up for it, they didn't. So that's really what it is. I think it's a very reasonable request.
And I'm telling them, cut her out. You guys can get content with me. Cut her out, though, for her safety.
I think the danger is that it looks like, in a film where we're documenting the masculinity movement and asking questions about whether it's damaging or abusive, right? Asking questions about how appropriate it is in relation to women, then we can't allow someone, even the appearance of someone, silencing a woman. Like the idea...
Silencing a woman, right?
Yes, Myron. Not listening to you making demands on a woman's behalf is not silencing women.
I'm not silencing a woman.
I'm counting the lies.
She doesn't want to be in the documentary. I can show you the text message or call her on 3-way and let you hear it yourself. She does not want to be in the documentary whatsoever.
But Angie's on your stream, Myron.
She's not. She hasn't been on my streams in months. She has not been on my content for...
They still are. Anyone can easily find her on...
That's fine, but she hasn't been on my streams for months, and there's a reason for that. It's not about silencing her. She doesn't want to be in the documentary. I'd be happy to call her right now if you want, and I don't know if she's awake right now, but I can call her right now, and you can hear from her directly.
Let me talk to the team and call you back.
Yeah, it was never about protecting Angie. It was just about trying to get content to try to get a gotcha, and they couldn't even get the gotcha.
During his attempts to get the embarrassing scene with Angie removed from the documentary, Myron gave the producer an ultimatum. They could come up and film with him in his solo studio during a live stream if they removed Angie from the documentary.
Because I told them, I'm not doing shit unless you guys remove Angie from the thing. That's what they tell me. Basically, it's hard to hear.
No shit, Myron. You can barely hear a thing.
Can't hear shit.
So you guys won't use it. I say that, right? And he goes, and I say that Angie scene.
Why are you so pressed about that Angie scene?
Let's have a good show then.
Brilliant.
That nigga Myron thinks he's so tough, bro.
Was some bombshell evidence there. Literally impossible to hear what was said. Myron then revealed a recorded phone call with Louis, trying to get Louis to promise on video that he would do his best to remove Angie from the documentary, and if they did that, Myron would let them film him yelling about Jews in his solo studio for hours.
I'll accept Louis on camera saying, look, we're gonna keep her out of the documentary and do our best to do it. I'll accept that. And he's not even guaranteeing it on camera. All he's saying is we're gonna try and do our best. So if it does come out in a certain way, we can go from there.
Well, I'm not quite sure what that means. Like, I would want to,
Yo, comedy, bro. Look at that.
Yes, Myron, you stunned someone with your stupidity. Congratulations.
Kind of giving you a guarantee or I'm not, no?
No, I don't. I'm telling you, I'm explicitly saying I don't need a guarantee. What I'm saying is I just need Louis on camera saying, look, we're going to work to keep Angie out. We're going to do our best. And that's basically it. I stick to my word. So having Angie in the documentary is more important than getting the overall content.
Well, we're not guaranteeing that will be it. We can't right now, standing here in Miami at 1 in the morning, we can't give you that assurance.
I just need Louis on the thing to say, I'm gonna work my best to keep her out of it.
And just so you guys know, I knew they wouldn't be able to give that assurance, and I wanted to make sure, just so you guys see how much a piece of shit these guys are, they'd rather get the content and put somebody in a weird situation, a female, than get content to like actually properly do a documentary on somebody.
That's just something we can't on camera or anything, so...
Okay.
This is supposed to be bombshell evidence. Myron demanded that they remove the footage of Angie from the documentary.
W30 stream streak by my boy Bloodwolf. Where you at, family, man?
Solo stream,
my dog.
as any professional documentary maker
crazy,
would.
bro.
They didn't play his games and sacrificed filming his dumb stream for the gold footage they had.
Right, and this goes to show the hypocrisy of the left, right? It's all about humanity until money's involved. The fact that he wouldn't even put skin in the game to say, look, I'm going to work towards not putting her in the documentary tells you guys what type of individual this guy is. And that's fine, because we have everything on video.
Again, Myron has provided absolutely...
Myron's like literally just showing us like shit that we don't even need to see. Like, he hasn't proved one good point, bro. The only point that I can give some smidget of respect to for Myron, and I feel like I'm just reaching here, is that if his girl genuinely didn't want to be in the documentary, which he really hasn't shown us hardcore evidence that she said that, then fine. As a man, I am not mad at him, trying to do everything in his power to make sure that, she feels comfortable and protected. But it feels like he's doing everything but showing us that evidence. That's the only evidence we needed to see. Niggas going so hard.
No evidence that Angie herself was requesting that her footage be removed from the documentary. This may be a scandal in Myron's world, where men speak for their woman, but not here on planet Earth.
Ask them politely, look guys, can you remove this part of the documentary? You guys still have hours of content, and honestly, there's nothing here that is relevant of artistic value. Like, she was saying just good things about me, right? Like, I don't know why this needs to be in the documentary.
What monumental cope this is. According to Myron, the footage with Angie was irrelevant and had no artistic value, when of course it was absolutely gold footage that went viral and made Myron look like a clown. But even aside from the Angie situation, Myron had some more evidence of Louis being a snake to show us. He showed some more footage from the episode of the Fresh and Fit podcast when Louis was a guest and asked why wasn't all of this shown.
Sexuality is her predominant value, and then as you get to know her more and more, that sexuality goes and other traits start to take over for importance.
For sure, but in the question about whether sex disappearing in a long-term relationship, to what extent there are other factors that also need to be valued and that are worth preserving. In what cases would you work on the relationship? I mean, you try and figure it out together, especially if there are kids involved.
Sure.
So the idea that you say, like, you got 1 month and then I'm turning and leaving and breaking up the family, that's ridiculous.
A lot of guys just have to stay in a sexless marriage because they don't have leverage in a relationship. Do you remember the numbers on that one? Something like 50% or better.
It's a lot.
A very sexless marriages are sexless.
You might find it very interesting, Louis, to jump onto Reddit and go down a subreddit called Dead Bedrooms. You'll find a lot of very interesting stories.
Notice how we cut all this out the documentary. We're actually having some really good discourse here where I'm challenging his woke worldviews.
On stream, Myron played an extended minutes-long section of the podcast and acted like it was a scandal that none of it was included. This was a 90-minute documentary featuring multiple subjects, not just Myron, and he seems to be expecting them to include hours of the Fresh and Fit podcast. Next, Myron complains about footage that was excluded from when Louis joined him at a workout session.
And Myron in Florida.
I love how I did a whole workout and they didn't fucking show any of that. They want to come and watch me do a workout and they only got like that part. And then here I was...
Got him doing some weak ass lunges. That nigga Myron looks like he doesn't work out at all.
They're here with them for like 2 hours in the gym and they only show this?
Again, this is obviously how documentaries work. Hours and hours of footage is recorded, then condensed into something digestible. Next, Myron complains that they included none of a street debate that Louis joined him on.
If you guys remember, we did a street debate, right? I was out here debating Zionists, etc. Louis and his team were out there with us. If you guys remember, here's this camera guy right here. And you could see Louis walking around the background trying to ask people questions, etc. They cut all of this out, by the way. Cut all this shit out. He was here. Spent hours with them. None of this stuff made the cut at all.
Newsflash, large documentary productions, film footage that doesn't end up being used. Not to mention, there's a high chance all of this footage was irrelevant. This is a documentary about the manosphere. Why would they include hours of footage of
This nigga Myron thought the documentary was about him.
Myron debating Zionists about Israel? The last exclusive bombshell that we have from Myron involves his doggy.
Myron, right? And Frank. Myron tends to be suspicious.
And notice how he doesn't show Frank in the documentary. They did this on purpose. They're trying to make me look like an asshole. I noticed that right away. I was like, yo, they didn't show my dog. What the fuck?
That's right.
All right, bro.
Weirdo.
This nigga is coping. This nigga is pulling off from anything trying to make a point.
Right, in this
They didn't show my dog. They're trying to point me as a misogynistic because they didn't show my dog. Bro, what are you talking about, bruh?
And conspiracy, the production went out of their way to hide Myron's dog so no one could see what a down-to-earth guy he is, because the audience would have been thinking that no red pill men ever owned dogs, and when they saw he did, they would have thought to themselves, you know what, that Myron Gaines isn't so bad after all, give me a break. So what we have learned here is that Myron Gaines doesn't know the difference between an IRL stream and an edited documentary. What an absolute buffoon.
Y'all let me know what y'all think about this one in the comment section, man. At the end of the day, I gave y'all my thoughts. Myron's shown his true colors, so he's been shown his true colors, so it's really not surprising that he's acting like this, but it's definitely funny to see him just cope, trying to pull at straws to try and make it make sense. But hey, love y'all, appreciate y'all. My name is Berto. Where you at, family? I'll see you on the next one. I'm gone.
Where you at, Berto? I made this shit look sweet.